Hello, everybody, and welcome to Converge 2025, the RoboHead User Conference. In my presentation, always in the know, giving customers project updates without any extra work. My name is Joseph Omann, Solutions Consultant here at Aquant Cloud, and this presentation is going to show you how you can leverage RoboHead's functionality to transform how you communicate project progress with your clients and team members. Too often valuable time is spent trying to track down stakeholders or duplicate information just to keep people informed. We're going to try and end that cycle today by going through how you can utilize some strategies within RoboHead to keep both of your internal and external stakeholders informed without any extra work or any extra information, duplicating any extra effort like that on your end. I'm going to show you 4 different methods that's going to make you more effective and more efficient, along with a bonus method of how you can help get buy-in from your project stakeholders as well. I'm going to show you how you can create quick at-a-glance project view exports, which you can then send to your stakeholders. I'll show you how you can set up RoboScripts that can then automatically send email notifications to your stakeholders when projects reach a certain point in the workflow, for example. I'll show you how you can create scheduled reports for summary updates, show you some dynamic calendar sharing functionality that's available for you, not only at the task level, but at the project and campaign levels as well. And then we'll go through a bonus tip of how you can get customer buy-in for these new processes that you're about to implement. Our first method is going to leverage some really basic functionality within RoboHead that'll actually make it pretty easy for you to send over quick updates to not only your external stakeholders, but your internal ones as well. And that's going to be through the use of leveraging RoboHead's filtering functionality, for example, here on the projects page. Now, before we go about creating different filters, we want to make sure that we have the appropriate columns available for us to filter from. Admin users have the ability to add additional columns to be filtered from that we can see here in the sprocket icon here. So like when we click on the sprocket in the upper right, it allows us to choose which columns we want to have displayed or hidden. These columns are going to be pulling from your actual project form, in addition to some columns that RoboHead has available by default. If there are any fields on your project form that your team would like to have available as a column to then filter off of, you're going to want to go to the account page, actions, and then down to list columns, where you'll be able to add those additional columns from the different forms that you're utilizing so your team can create filters from them. But for now, we want to just make sure that we have the basics that we want to use to create the different filters. So like filtering for project type, project status, the client that you're working with, things like that. You're also going to want to ensure that you have some additional default columns to display, like the total number of tasks, or the tasks in progress or overdue, or maybe the tasks that are currently in progress for those projects. Then we just go into our funnel icon here at the top, click on create new filter, and then pick and choose the column or columns that you want to create your filters for. And then once these filters are created, you'll be able to apply them with just a click. And then from here, clicking on the cloud icon will put them all into a spreadsheet within just a couple of seconds, which you can then download to an email and send it out with very minimal work involved. And then, keeping your clients and your team members easily informed. Now, filters are user specific. So if you wanted to ensure that your team members are utilizing the same filters that you are, then it will be up to them to create those filters within their own RoboHead environment. But at that point, then everybody will have the same filters to utilize and the same functionality available from here. Now, there isn't like a limit on the number of filters that you can create. So please feel free to create like different experiments, like combinations of filters, like specific client and project type, or maybe the project that's due within the next 30 days for all of our media blast projects, things like that. Those are going to be very helpful filters, not only for you to keep your work specific, to what you need to see, but it'll then make it available for you to easily send those updates over to your stakeholders and team members as well. Method 2 is going to be utilizing our RoboScript functionality to then send email notifications to your stakeholders when certain milestones within the project are reached. This is something that admin users will need to set up and then manage for your team, and they're going to be doing that through the account menu and into actions where we find RoboScripts. RoboScripts can be used for a lot of different events within the system here. So they could be set up based on task activity, project activity, files, or review functionality. So there's a lot of things that you can set up a RoboScript for, but they basically automate different functions within the system based on events that are occurring. I set up one for this example called the DF social media post start layout and notify client. I'm going to click on the action arrow and go into modify to show you how I set up this RoboScript. Now, this is something that is sort of specific to a certain client and a certain project type that we do for that client. And in this example, I'm basing my script on when the status of a certain task is changed, or when we, let's say, change the status from not started to in progress. That's essentially what's starting this RoboScript off. So in this example, when we are working on a social media project for this specific client, and we start working on when we mark the right copy task as complete, then it's going to update any successor tasks to in progress. It's going to change the status of our project overall to a different status. And then it's going to send an email to whoever requested the project, letting them know that we are now starting on the next phase of the workflow. So in this example, I'm basically letting my stakeholder know that we're starting on the layout for their project type. And down here, we have the ability to just send this email back to whoever requested it, saying, that in this case, the layout is started, and this is an email just to let you know and to reach out to us for any questions. So this is just one example of how you can utilize RoboScripts to automatically keep your clients informed when certain events within RoboHead occur. And this is just you could use these for clients, for team members. There's a lot of different things that you can use RoboScripts for. So this is another one where I encourage you to kind of explore and experiment and see what works best. Maybe start small and scale up from there just to make sure that the scripts are running the way that you want. And if you set up something that's not quite working, RoboHead support is always there to assist you, or you could just simply delete the script itself so it won't continue to run. It doesn't affect the records, it doesn't delete the records in any way. It just deletes the script. You can also toggle these off so they no longer run while still keeping the script within the system as well. Method 3 for keeping your clients informed without creating any extra work is going to be through the use of our reporting tool, where we could set up and schedule reports to go out via email automatically every day, every week, every other week, whatever we decide to do and whatever our clients want. We'll be able to basically create versions of the reports within RoboHead that they need to see, and then utilize RoboHead's schedule report functionality to ensure that they're getting to where they need to be at the time that they're needed. So here at the top, I've got a couple of examples. I've got my weekly project digest report and my delayed project summary reports. And when we click the modify report action, this is just to show you just how simple your reports can start and how effective they can still be with just a few columns selected. So in this case, I've got my project name, my due dates, the project number, the total number of tasks, the tasks that are overdue, the status of the project, and things like that. So not really getting too creative with the project necessarily, but still delivering the key pieces of information that our stakeholders are going to need. Now, when you're working with the reports, and this goes for any type of report that you're working with, the key is starting with what information you need in the report. And I know that sounds sort of simple, but it's actually, the best place to start, because RoboHead has so much information available that it can be sometimes overwhelming to know like what it is you're looking for. So just start simple and be like, well, what do I want my report to say? Or what do my clients need the reports to say? And go from there. And once you have the columns selected for the data points that everybody needs to see, then it's up to you to decide, well, what order do I need to see them in? How do they need to read from left to right? And that's going to be through the order of the columns over here on the right. So once they're selected, ordering them over on the right is going to make the report read a lot nicer. And then underneath that, you have the ability to sort the data, to group it, to filter it, all of that stuff. And that's going to be based on the client, based on the type of project, whatever it is that you're trying to report on. That's going to kind of dictate how you want to group that stuff. Another one here, I've got my delayed project summary report. Another pretty simple one here, but it's basically just telling me if my project is on schedule, and if not, then we know what projects we need to take action on. As far as the columns that I'm including, pretty simple, just a lot of the same ones that we were using with the previous report. Now, in this case, I'm sorting it by project name, grouping it by line of business, and then calculating the total number of tasks that are overdue for each one of my projects. And then as far as the filters go, I'm just going with the project on schedule, yes or no. Simple enough. If it's no, it's going to populate on this report. Just to show you a quick preview of it here, again, nothing too fancy. It's going to show us the name, number, due date, status, and the tasks that are overdue, and then summarize them, by client / line of business. So we have a really, easy list of projects that we need to pay attention to. Now, the scheduling part of it comes into play back into the arrow that we saw earlier. And in this case here, we'll go down to schedule results. And from here, we can then specify, is it a report that needs to go out multiple times a week? Is it just once a week, a couple of times a month? What is the frequency, that we need to send this report off of? So if I have a report that we just want to get in everybody's inboxes Monday morning, then I'm going to go with the run weekly report on Monday. And let's say that we want to run it at 8 a.m. Underneath that, we select our recipients, put in the subject of our email and the message, and then we click on save. Your recipients will receive this report via email, so you can put in a customized message that they'll see every time they get the email, like here's the report we're using for the team meeting, or whatever the case is. You'll be able to communicate that with them through this screen here. And then those reports will go out automatically based on what you specify. So again, pretty basic functionality, but pretty powerful functionality as well. Thinking about how much time that's going to save you, not having to remember to run the report, download the report, attach it to an email, and send it all out prior to the team meeting. RoboHead can do all that stuff for you. All right, the next method that I'd like to show you is going to be back here on the projects page. However, it's not just on the projects page where you'll see this functionality, but it's going to be wherever we have our calendar view available. So in this case, since we're talking mostly about our projects, I want to take us back here. I want to toggle from our list view into our calendar view and show you how you have the ability to share a calendar of your projects, your tasks, your campaigns with internal or external project stakeholders. This is a really helpful tool that allows you to easily keep those stakeholders in the loop. So they'll be able to see where their projects are at or what status their projects are in without them having to reach out to you and ask. Simply first apply the filter if you need to and toggle into calendar view. And then from here, click on share calendar. Select your recipients from the list or type them as you go. Again, they don't have to be internal RoboHead users. They can be outside of the system as well. Put in your customized email message, an expiration date to go along with it if you like. However, it is optional. And then a title for your calendar, and then click on share. Your recipients will then get an email sent to them with a button that they click on that will then open up that calendar into a separate browser tab, which they can then add as a favorite. The beauty of this function is that the calendar is dynamic. So as things update in RoboHead, that calendar that you shared with them will also update as well. So you won't need to like reshare the calendar with them, or they won't need to like redo anything on their end. As long as they have that email, they can click that button whenever they want, and that calendar will automatically be refreshed, whatever the current data is in RoboHead, and it still won't give them more information than they need either. So if you share the project calendar with them, they'll be able to click on the name and number of the project and see the start dates and the due dates of the project, and then the status that it's in, but nothing beyond that. So they won't be able to see who's working on it or what tasks are involved or anything like that. So a very quick and easy way to keep your stakeholders in the loop without having to do anything extra whatsoever except sharing a calendar with them. And then anything that gets added or updated in RoboHead will be updated on that calendar for them as well. All right, so bonus tip. For getting your stakeholders to kind of buy into any of these new processes that you're looking to implement after seeing some of this stuff. First, explain the benefit to them. This could be as simple as, hey, just to let you know, you're going to be getting this report via email this way through RoboHead instead of like through my Outlook or something like that. Frame it in a way that it's going to like show them how it's going to make their lives easier. Because now things maybe are going to get sent to them on a more regular basis or things like that. Second, maybe ask them what method they prefer. Maybe they don't want to receive everything by email and they want to get things printed off and put on their desk. You never know. Everybody's a little bit different in that way, but knowing how they want to get the information sent to them is going to be a key part of this, because we certainly don't want to be doing something that's not going to be beneficial, to our stakeholders. So definitely asking them, do they want to get a shared calendar, just an email update, maybe all, maybe both. You've got some options there, as we've seen today. So ask them what they want to go with. And then finally, if the adoption of this seems sort of daunting, start small. Even just like using like one report that's really catered to what they need to see could be enough to change their mind on buying in on any of these new processes that you're looking to implement. So maybe just starting off with one of the options and showing them really what you can do with it will help them see the benefit in any of these new methods that you're looking to implement. All right, well, I want to thank you all for attending this presentation and for attending Converge 2025. I hope you found this information helpful. Please feel free to reach out to RoboHead support if you have any questions about this or would like to learn more. And have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.